Am I not even talking? Folks, you know it's not about last week's blog post. It's not about this week's review. It's always about next week's episode. And we are here at What's Trainwreck Watching, where we just got this next week's episode with The Mandalorian. Let me bring in my cohort and my covent, Jake Majka. Majka, man, another episode in the books. It's been kind of an up and down season for The Mandalorian so far. So I'll start with an easy one. Did you like the episode?
Well, first of all, I thought you were speaking parcel tongue or something at the beginning, and I had no idea if I was missing something. But the episode was great. Last week, we kind of talked about it. We needed last week was a little slower. The last couple weeks have been like slower pace, kind of getting us where we needed to go, and we kind of expected some chaos, and I think that we got a pretty chaotic episode this time. Definitely moving us forward a lot, and just some action, some energy to it. It was 43 minutes about. So about a
there were
Mando
2 or 3
runtime.
times where I thought the episode was about to end, and it kept going with an extra scene. So kudos to the Mando in this episode taking us on that ride.
Yeah, it was good though. I enjoyed it. What about you?
I liked it. I thought it did a good job of balancing everything. I think for the first time, we saw all the storylines of the season. It kind of felt maybe a little bit disconnected. Gideon Shard, you got Coruscant, you got all kinds of crazy stuff with the New Republic. Then you got Mando, you got Navarro, you got the Covenant. For the first time, it was all in one episode. So I was super excited about that, and I think they did a good job. Kind of leading us on, telling a good story. I like where the
shit going on for sure.
I like where the Mandalorians was going, and I feel like this is the first time. Yeah, they kind of left us on a semi cliffhanger. With one of the scariest scenes I could remember in Star Wars. And this is a show with ice spiders, as we might remember now. Speaking,
we do now.
Yeah, Carson Teva. So we'll get into it. I can watch Mando fight anybody in a ship anytime, anywhere. It's amazing. Anytime. They don't, and this is the great thing. I saw this in a comment. Again, I stole it. But it's like Mando doesn't even need to be in like the shot. Like it can just be the other person like looking worried for like 3 seconds, and then it's just like pew pew, like with the Mando theme song, and you're just like crushed.
Yep. It's the best thing on TV, I think, right now. Still, like that's what I come back to this show for. Is there's these select every season. There's like, I don't know how many, but 5 to 10 minute scenes where you're just like on the edge of your seat. Like it's like unlike any other thing you're on television, movie wise, otherwise, like the way that they do it. So yeah, I mean, that's what this episode had. It had a lot of classic Mandalorian episode elements while also being like, it felt very contained while also it was so like, you could tell like where it's building towards this huge controversy, conspiracy, whatever is going to be coming out of it. But like this episode still just felt like true to the nature. And maybe it's the last one we'll get that way when it's going forward, but it was fun while it was going on, that's for sure.
Seriously, it was a ton of fun. It was kind of why you watch Star Wars, in my opinion, as far as that was concerned. I'm trying to pull up a picture of my guy here. All right, well, I can't do without ads, whatever. We got our by Carson Teva.
Oh, okay.
They kind of leading the charge this episode. So I bring him up because, as we find out very early on in this episode, the New Republic is completely useless. So Navarro gets attacked by Gideon Shard. It kind of all adds up. His pirates went there. They got killed. They're former partners. That's how pirates work, I think. If they can take, another pirate stuff, it's basically what they're going to do. That's how Gideon Shard views High Magistrate Grief Karga, who, by the way, is still trying to build out these properties, and then he just gets completely whamboozled by this pirate attack. But what'd you think of seeing, I guess it's, I don't know if we've ever seen a full-on pirate attack in live-action Star Wars.
I didn't know that they could do it even, honestly, as he's unloading, like, whatever the lasers that he is shooting down on Navarro with and attacking. Like, I didn't know that there was capabilities of that. That looks like some Empire shit like that's going on. Like, I didn't know, like, makes you realize how serious, like, all the threats are in the galaxy. Like, that obviously he was pushed to his brink where he was like, I'm so tired of you, and wanted to do this, like the pirate, in this scenario. It's not like he's just doing this to every planet along the way, but just the capability of it was not something I guess I even I hadn't considered that being an option when he was going to come back around. I don't know about you, but I didn't think that was like the first that was very jarring for me to be his like first course of response after we saw him earlier in the season. He stepped it up.
Yeah, he absolutely stepped up. And yeah, it's interesting because the caption was New Republic is useless. And that's basically what we've seen so far this season, whether it's, the amnesty program with the Empire officials clearly having some holes in it, whether it's the handling of Moff Gideon, which we got to in this episode, or whether it's these planets calling for help. I mean, it's worthless.
Yeah, well, that's what I said before. Favreau is like the greatest writer. He's the greatest writer, bar none now, because all the bureaucracy crap that we've, not crap, it was good, and it was good information. We knew it was building somewhere. We're like, what are we spending so much time on Coruscant for? Like, what are we seeing? And now it was literally for the one line that our boy Carson said here. It was like, and they're talking about trying to go to or talk to the New Republic and get some help. And who's your boy there? He's talking to at the bar, and he's like, oh, that'll take weeks. They're backed up. And you're like, oh, yeah, the bureaucracy, it all pays off in that one line, because you can't get help. You'd have to wait 4 weeks. They know that. And like, just the fact that we already know that in the world, it's such a stupid little thing, but also is like the greatest thing about the way they built this show and like these sets of shows. It was awesome.
Yes. I think in the prequels, like especially episode 1, which was a lot about like, basically a trade blockade and stuff like that. Yeah. People didn't really like the bureaucracy of it, but I'm loving it. It's like you said, you're seeing exactly the inner workings. You're seeing exactly why the New Republic wasn't able to thrive. Useless.
We need the explanation. Yeah. And we need the explanations of why they're useless. We can't just like, with the prequels, they just threw us in there. And I think people were expecting these people to be like good at their job when they're in the negotiation. You're like, what? These people are stupid. And now we're watching this back and we're like, no, this is like as poorly run as anything that you could imagine.
So Carson Teva is basically, he's a part of the Blue Rangers or whatever for the X-Wing pilots. And it's kind of like, it feels like a sheriff, out like in his county or whatever. And his area is Navarro and these other spots. And he's kind of just a little bit more aware of what's going on than these bureaucrats. By the way, who made that the appearance? That actor, he's really famous. It's not Tim Robbins, is it?
No, but I know I can't remember what the guy's name you're thinking of right now for some reason. Yeah, I know. Oh man, this is gonna make me so mad.
Yeah, he's in Mean Girls is the first one I can remember him in.
There's so many things that this. Oh
he's the principal. He's the principal. Come on, Tim Meadows. I knew
Tim Meadows.
I knew I was close.
Yeah.
I knew it was Tim. But Tim Meadows is a great New Republic like bureaucrat. I guess he's what did he say his job?
I knew once I saw him on the screen.
He's a requisitor. So what are you requesting or whatever? Yeah.
Once I saw him on the screen, I knew
as soon as you saw him in the office, you knew that Carson Teva was in for some trouble as far as what he needed.
Oh my gosh, I'm trying.
But that's the funny thing, and we'll push through here. Is that Carson Teva continues to push through? He wants to see what's going on. He at least requests that he can go. He's talking with our guy Zeb from Rebels, so this is really cool because obviously Zeb was a alien species. He's a bit of a rarity in the Rebels universe, and it's cool to see him in live action, see how his story ended up there. Kind of a nod to all the fans there. With that said, it's almost, even he regards it as like a lost cause, like trying to go after Navarro. Like he knows how backed up the New Republic is. He knows, how far their resources are. I mean, it's crazy trying to keep a galaxy clean is like being short-staffed at like a super Walmart. I feel like.
I can't even imagine. Like, I understand why that, our boy Tim's in the office and he's just like, the fuck you want me to do about this place, bro? Like, what am I supposed to do here? I'm just one guy. And, Carson's yelling at him in the office. He's getting all worked up. And I understand Carson's anger, but I feel like it's a little displaced energy. Like, it's like, listen, you know how these things are working, Carson. Like, it's a man above the man, above the man, above the man.
Oh my God. So many men above so many delegates, above so many bureaucrats, above so many representatives, above so many chancellors.
But I do understand wanting to just, talk, like, you ever been on the phone and you're on the customer service and you're trying to press the buttons and you're like, if I could just like speak to somebody for 3 seconds,
it would all be solved. Like, yeah, that's what they should do. They should have an express lane for customer service where you're like, I need 30 seconds.
Yeah, literally. Like you just need to give me one answer. And that's all he needed.
Yeah, that's literally all he needed. And so he didn't get the answer he was looking for. So he went, it's desperate times, it's desperate measures. He's using a spy, Carson Teva, to go find the Mandalorian coming. What'd you think about this whole sequence?
That was baller, bro. I had no idea how he found him. I wasn't even thinking about any way that he could find him or what he was trying. I was like, damn, how's he just pulling up like right up to the? That's bold. Like
Straight
he had
nutty.
a lot of confidence.
Absolutely, I was aghast that he just pulled right up to.
It's either bold or
Mandalorian
desperate, and he does seem kind of desperate at this point, right? With what
I say, what would you
concerned
say?
about.
I think I give my man a lot of credit, but I think it's 70% desperation, 30% boldness.
Yeah, I think that's a good amount because he is definitely like he's perturbed.
He looked comfortable. He wasn't nervous.
He's like, it was like, what am I doing? At this point, there's no turning back. You got 17 Mandalorians pointing their weapons at you. You're kind of just like, whatever, shit or get fucked on the pot here, something like you're done, buddy. But he made it. He did make it out.
Well, his plea, bro. First off, Mando. I guess maybe I don't know. He didn't let on that like Mando owed him in any way, but Mando knew he owed him from just their past experiences and everything like that. So he kind of takes him aside, puts the arm around him. It felt like, once he kind of pleads with them, I mean, that's when Mando realizes the importance of what's happening. And obviously, I mean, we saw the way it played out in the rest of the episode. I mean, because we are Mandalorian.
Strong words from Paz.
Fire. Absolute fire.
Mando can't turn down a fight. That man just loves to fight. He is like,
and
Finley.
He can't turn down being an underdog. Loves being plus money. Loves being plus money.
He really does. He eats that shit up. But they're having their meeting. The Mandalorians are getting together. They're having a big chat. Mando is like, listen, guys. He's giving his big, humble, well-natured speech, exactly what you'd expect. And Paz takes us on a journey, bro. He took us on a roller coaster. I figured he was about to be like, get this guy out of here. What is happening? And that's how he starts it off. And then, like you said here, but why would we do this? Why would we get involved in this battle that doesn't mean anything to us? Because we are Mandalorian. Everybody's hyped. I jumped out of my seat. I don't know about you. I was hyped.
I was hyped big time. And then, so getting into it, we obviously talked about the dog fighting with the ships. What did you think about the overall battle scenes? Had to laugh. I don't know what their names are, but the space monkey pointing like to the one like pirate behind the thing, like hysterical. Like what a redemption story for the space monkeys.
Exactly.
After Return of the Jedi, it was just like, oh, they're annoying. Now we've seen them go from like meat on the street to like helping out our Navarro, taking it back.
No, that's what this is why I'm saying this episode by Favreau was such a flex, because earlier you have the pirates see the monkeys and they like take some stray shots at them, whatever, piss the monkeys off. They don't kill them or anything. And then literally get the payoff 20 minutes later in the battle for that exact moment. Great. It's great. And Mando, we know what he does in the air. Like and exactly what you just said. He loves being the underdog. He's on the call and he said, you're outnumbered 10-1. I like those odds.
Seriously.
Like sick, Mando. All right, buddy. Let's relax a little bit.
The Mandalorians didn't even have weapons. I mean, you had the hammer. It was hammer time for the armor. That was
what was Paz? Paz really was up on his wrestler bullshit because he like pulled up they're all getting shot at, getting killed down there. They're in a big battle, and then he shows up late with the big old machine gun.
Paz's armor also kind of has like. It has like Hulk Stopper vibes, or what was that thing called? that Tony Stark had, like Hulkbuster. He's like it's like a little bit bulkier than everybody else's. It looks huge. Like it looks like he just has to be the most monster dude ever.
Yeah, he's got to be like he is like 6'6", 275. He's a force. But good for Paz, man. I was not expecting it, to be honest, not at all. So good on him.
So pirates do what pirates do. They get beat by the Mandalorians. And listen, there's been some criticisms of like Kenobi. There's been some criticisms of like, the other shows. I'm not afraid to criticize Mando. We need like another 200 people for that extra scene. There weren't as many people in there as there were when he was walking Mando around like the gardens, like bragging about it. So I was a little confused. I mean, I wish there could have been a little bit more people and stuff, but I don't know. What were your thoughts on the numbers there and the way? I just thought it looked weird. It looked lame when he was saying like you saved our planet and there were like 70 people there.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just supposed to show like how dire it really was, but if it was, they didn't sell it at that dire. Like we weren't supposed to be like they were like celebrating at the end. Basically, it didn't seem that when they came back to Navarro after the Pirates initially attacked, I wasn't expecting it to just be like the Pirates like had taken over and started raiding already and everything like that. Like I figured it would be like they'd have some kind of counter defense, or maybe we get to see some like Navarrans like in a bunker somewhere. Like
you know what it was? Navarro no-sold Gideon Shard's finisher. They kicked
really
out
did.
They kicked out at like 1.5.
They were just like, nope, not today.
They basically no-sold.
Whatever.
I will say, so we'll get into this on it's kind of a double thing. The lead up to the Armorer doing the action, awesome. For sure, we've definitely gotten to see more of the Mandalorians this season. I think, as much as there have been storylines about Bo-Katan, there have been storylines about Coruscant, because I've seen some criticism of this show. Like, I don't know what you think, but people are like, why is all this stuff happening in a show called The Mandalorian? Well, now I think it all makes a little bit more sense. You're getting into the Mandalorian politics. Yeah, of course, Din Djarin is like the driving force behind all this. I mean, even Paz Vizsla is looking over to him for like acknowledgement now when he's unsure about something, which is big. That's massive development from a season or two ago. But yeah, so you get into this Mandalorian customs, everything. And another cool one I thought was they kind of go like kindergarten style. Unless you have the hammer, you can't be talking at this meeting, Micah.
It's respectful. I like it. We don't need these. Paz would have been just yelling over people in the past, just screaming that, you need some order in these things. But I think we've been kind of on that trend about this show from the beginning this season, that it's been about Mando, but more just him. He has not been the main character of it. It's been about everybody around him and like what's going on. Yeah, Disney has told us that The Mandalorian is a vehicle for some larger connected Star Wars universe / event, which I would keep coming back to because it's hilarious the way that it's going to be a movie, right? Or just like another docuseries.
And on that note, real quick, like the world building alone with like taking you to other planets, Navarro alone, better than anything we got in the sequel trilogy.
Yep. Yeah. Like I'm not like, it's a TV show. They are going to spend some episodes away from the main, like, it's just like, I don't know. I think it's jarring for people to see a Star Wars story still being told this way. And they're clearly setting up for something humongous. And the seeds really getting planted in this episode right now for a big conflict coming.
Din jarring. Yes, but yes, we got that. The Mandalorians are talking, and so the Mandalorians, I would say, they're channeling their inner Drake. They're going from 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. Because we started this season and they had zero belief. You have Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan was literally in the equivalent of sweatpants and eating potato chips, like doing nothing. And all of a sudden, and so anyone who wants to tell me that this show isn't about the Mandalorian, like, is a numbskull. Because Mando goes to Mandalore. Yeah, maybe it was a little oversimplified in how easy it was, but maybe we'll find out, when they go back, that maybe not everyone can like survive in that, atmosphere or something like that. But point being is that I feel like there's just, again, he's the driving force behind everything, and I'm very interested to see where the series goes in these last 3 episodes.
The only like you're saying right here, the only reason all these people in the 3 seasons of this show would be brought into these positions that they're in is because of Mando. Yes. That's the whole point. Like that's the whole point. Is he
this
is
coven? This coven would be like in a cave doing nothing. They would be in a cave doing nothing. Bo-Katan would be eating her potato chips and things. Carson Teva would just be doing meaningless patrols. Like
he's doing paperwork right now. Yeah. He wouldn't have had
Pershing,
a good day.
Justice for Pershing. And speaking of justice, there was a little bit of a swerve, and I'm not talking about the last scene. I'm talking about the second to last scene. The Armorer backs Bo-Katan. So this was Din jarring in more ways than one to me. I did not expect it to be this easy. She said last episode, she even kind of like no-sold it seemed like last episode when she was telling her about the mythosaur, but maybe it was more she was, as she kind of says in this episode, she's like, plain and simple, like this was supposed to be a mythical thing. If you've seen it, like you're taking us to the promised land. Like, and I don't know, what is the promised land for the Mandalorians? What, to restore Mandalore and to have their society back, have their ways, have their customs, have a planet where they can all go live in like peace and semi-harmony?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, the Mandalorians, in a lot of Star Wars history basically just had been in war and just got torn apart and everything. So I would assume that that's the main goal there. I was shocked by this whole scene. I thought it was a setup at first, honestly. I
thought
worried.
Something was going on because and then she comes out with the no helmet.
No helmet, and everybody's like, well, what the fuck's going on here? And the whole thing is you've walked both worlds, so you can now do this. And I just think that
Avatar vibes.
Well, that is true. I still don't trust Bo-Katan, though. she's getting
more
and more powers
Bo-Katan,
quick, though. So quick. We don't know what she really wants. We have not, we just know she's interested in the Mythosaur. She has not, said to anybody or made intentions clear, I love this coven. I want to do this. I think she's doing it for what's happening right now.
She loves having a following, and she loves being important, which is what the coven is giving to her, for sure. And speaking of important, Season 1 and 2's main villain, Moff Gideon, gets name dropped for the first time in this episode by our guy Carson Teva when he's questioning the bureaucrat. And then we have our ending scene. Amazing scene. I'm just gonna say, I've read some comments or when a quote unquote horror scene, unlike anything that Star Wars has ever done. Had me on the edge of my seat, knowing what was gonna go on, and then. I guess if you would say that this scene had any twists, I don't think the real twist is that Moff Gideon got taken out or got evacuated from the prison transport. I feel like the twist is that they're saying that it was Mandalorians that did it, right?
Yeah, I think but we know that unless it's some other coven of Mandalorians, we know that
Beskar is not growing on trees.
Yeah,
for sure.
But Carson, I think, in this scenario is going to be pissed about the Mandalorians he just visited, and they were like, "What are you talking about?" Whatever. And I don't know. It's weird that it would be a Mandalorian thing unless Moff Gideon is that worried about.
If they arrested him at the end of last season, because last season just cut off right when Luke Skywalker bounced to Grogu, because obviously, who needs to see anything more besides that? Yeah. With that said, it was just, it was an odd vibe. I think I agree with you. Carson Teva is going to be pissed about what's going on. But yeah, I mean, obviously, what are the live lines that any Mandalorian we actually know is involved in this? It has to be plus 750 at least, right?
Well, do you even trust the New Republic at this point? Because I feel
I don't trust anybody.
Yeah, I feel why would this, if you're transporting the most vile, sinister criminal in the galaxy, why do you have one ship and 4 dudes on the ship? No. Something's wrong.
I hate to say it. I mean, it would almost be par for the course because the New Republic is useless. But literally, I mean, there was a reason the Empire, say what you wanted about them. They kept their people in line. If you were, saving somebody off an imprisonment, you basically had to be doing the craziest, bombastic shit of all time, not just a quick grab and, skedaddle.
Yeah, and then we get the pirate earlier in the thing. He's like, listen, the New Republic can't even help the mid-rim. You think that you're getting helped out here?
That was
they
worrisome.
Can't even do anything in there. When I heard that, I was like, wait, what?
Because we've always heard that, the outer rim was, just kind of that's the part that's off the beat map. But they can't get to the mid-rim. I mean, we're toast.
Is it because there's all these little Empire operatives that are getting amnestied into the New Republic?
The amnesty network is insane right now. You can see I feel like she is just the representative of what we're supposed to be expecting happening all over the galaxy right now, right?
Yes,
I want to get this point on file, so I'm glad you mentioned it. That amnesty official is working for whatever warlord sent the 20 ties to Bo-Katan. Last week. That person's still out there. That's not Moff Gideon, who was in prison. He couldn't be doing that at the same time. There's still someone out there. Chekhov's warlord. I mean, it can't be Thrawn.
Could it be our girl from Solo that's been rumored for so damn long? Oh
my god! If it was her,
and
I'll
is
tell
it
you
Crimson
Solo,
Dawn?
Solo
if it's Crimson Dawn coming in, then that makes a lot of sense. Honestly.
Solo would actually be vindicated if Favreau. Can you imagine if Favreau saved Solo's ending?
I mean, I'll be very happy if Darth Maul and freaking
Darth Maul and
Emilia Clarke show up at the end of Mandalorian season 4 or season 3 here. I wouldn't be mad. That's who else could it be? She's been rumored
Emilia
for
Clarke
so long.
and Pedro Pascal back on the screen together again.
Sign me up. Just give me all the Game of Thrones rerun actors in every show, and I'll be happy. It's basically where I'm at in life.
Seriously. And I think we're happy again. Like, we enjoyed this episode, but obviously, these next 3 are going to be big. Are they going to be Mandalore? Is it going to be, what's going to happen on Navarro? Things it seems like we have to go to Mandalore by the end of the season. I think my prediction is we go to Mandalore and it's not habitable as we thought for some reason.
Mandalore, yeah. I don't know what can happen next week, honestly. I feel like it's going to be split 50-50. I feel like we're going to get the Mandalorians doing something as an A story, and then a B story of Carson. I think Carson's going to be back. I think because they wouldn't leave off on that cliffhanger with Carson figuring that out. I feel like without having.
Oh no, it was massive. There was a huge amount of weight put on it. The scene felt very important.
And it felt like you said, like it was like earlier that there were a couple scenes where you thought this show was going to end and it didn't. It felt like after credits vibes. Like it wasn't after any credits, but the way it like kind of just popped up and you
were I agree. Yeah. I mean, the X-Wing just like kind of hanging there was
and it was so quiet, like because they were in space and it was like there was no music, no sound behind it. It just flipped to the screen and you're like, oh, okay. Like you could just tell there was like a shift right away. It was cool.
Agreed. One last note here because we have done a ton of Marvel, Disney Plus, everything. Did you see Ike P is out?
Yeah.
So this happened yesterday. I don't know. Marvel, I think that we both agree in a way. Marvel has lost its way a little bit. Now, they were working from the top of the deck or the bottom of the deck, depending on how you want to vote. Captain America, Iron Man, everything like that. You could definitely point to, the fact that they had to pivot on Black Panther. Obviously, Doctor Strange. I don't think Multiverse of Madness did as well as they wanted. I think a lot of people thought Love and Thunder was a flop. There's some stuff coming out right now that Christian Bale had done like R-rated scenes for Love and Thunder or whatever, and I would love to see those. I would love to see the Taika cut of Love and Thunder for what he wanted to put out there, because I feel like knowing the criticisms that came with the film now and what they had filmed, I bet you they could make a pretty solid flick. I mean, why not just release an extended edition?
Yeah. I think the biggest problem, I mean, I feel like this is more of it's Iger's scapegoating for all the TV attention.
100%.
Because he hated that. He hated the fact that they pivoted so hard to TV. And I think that hurt a lot of the storytelling going into phase 4 was that intense focus on TV. I think 2 TV shows a year and then your movies is probably the right formula rather than 4 or 5 right off and I got they wanted the excitement of it, right? And they're launching a new service and you want all this content coming out and everything else. But those stories need to be told on a big screen. Like, and it's not even the stories. It's just like, how much better does it feel to go and like watch, like you go see Ant-Man in the theater. If you watch Quantumania for the first time even if you have like a big TV at home, it is not going to be as good as if you go see it in theaters. And there's just some sort of element to that. I think that's what hurt Multiverse of Madness more than anything is that people just weren't going back to the theaters as much or anything. But I also think that these movies needed to be dark and they didn't let them be dark enough. You know what I mean?
I think they could have taken a little bit more risks with both for sure.
It was a little too happy-go-lucky and they tried to like mix it all in and everything. But like, and I think that's why people didn't like it because it was. And
you contrast that with like She-Hulk, where they're doing some of the craziest shit I've ever seen. Like she's going onto the streaming service, she's like attacking the Kevin robot. Like, I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. Where was that in those films? I think that would have been respected for sure. But hey, awesome. As we
no one's gonna complain when the X-Men are the new Harry Potter and like it's the biggest thing on planet Earth because that's what's gonna happen with the X-Men. Like that's what the X-Men do when X-Men movies or good X-Men content has been out over the last 40 years, 50 years, it's killed. So that's what I'm expecting. And that's what I think that is like, we're just building up to that. And then that is going to be the next real big cultural Marvel takeover, I think.
Seriously. Well, hey, we'll keep an eye out for the X-Men, but keep an eye out for the next episode of Mandalorian and keep an eye out for What's Trailer Watching, where, it's not about last week's blog post. It's not about this week's review. It is always about next week's episode.